Alfredo. I love his name. I feel like I'm talking about an Italian dish.
That's what I was like. Where's the broccoli and chicken?
Alfredo, right? That's his name. I wonder if he goes by Alfred.
Or
but
Fred.
His name, or Fred, yeah. Or Alfredo.
Oh.
But he just broke a world record. He hiked in the Grand Canyon, 24 miles.
That's a world record. Nobody's done that before?
Well,
that seems weird.
Not at his age. He's 92.
Okay, now we have a different perspective.
Right?
Wow.
If I make it to my 90s, I want to be like Alfredo, who can do this kind of physical activity. To go and hike in the Grand Canyon, that is pretty awesome.
I've never done it yet.
Right? I've never been. I've never seen it with my eyes, only, virtually.
Well, I flew over it, and I was like, oh, there it is. Okay, it's kind of big.
What did it look like?
It was amazing. It just looked like, honestly, a big red hole, like red mud.
Was that this year? Because you flew to California this year.
Yes, we flew over.
So, okay, I guess Liz always gets the window seat.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, not if my husband's booking. He puts me in the middle. Whatever.
What?
Like, it's a whole thing. Like,
okay.
He gets the aisle, I get the window.
Well, see, I like the aisle seat, too. Yeah. I'm the same way. I cannot sit by the window, and by golly, don't put me in the middle. Please don't put me in the middle. You know who else hikes is Scott's dad.
He used to hike a whole lot, not so much anymore, but he was big into hiking. He would do the overnight camps. He was part of a backpacking club in Chattanooga, where I'm from, and he still lives there. But one time he said he was on a hike and ran across a bear. Of all the years he's been hiking, it happened one time. And it said the bear looked at him, and they looked at each other. He started to back away, and the bear just sniffed and took off.
That's not saying a lot for Dad.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
So here's Wendy at 800-447-7234.
My grandpa, he used to live in Upper Michigan, and he was in his early 90s, and he would hike around, and parts of Green Bay would freeze over. And one time he got stuck in a snowstorm. There's a tiny island, so that wasn't too far off the shore. So he'd walk over across the ice on Green Bay, and this wolf saw him. Wolves will attack, and he was worried. But the wolf brought him to safety. That was God's angel because he got lost in that snowstorm.
How old was he then?
91, I believe.
How did it happen?
My grandfather is a strong Christian. I mean, he's loved the Lord his whole life, and he's now with Jesus, so we're happy about that. But we're glad that he didn't have to meet him earlier.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
Who is that person that's in your life that never, ever cries, and then all of a sudden, here's Rob and Lizz in the morning, his radio. So Jake is one of our producers. It's your grandpa?
Yeah, I don't really see him cry like that.
And so something happened that made him cry. What happened?
Yeah, so on Christmas, my mom comes to me and she's like, hey, I have a present for a grandpa, and I need you to videotape it. And so we're opening presents, and then it gets to that point. And she, side note, also got engaged last year. And so when we were opening the presents, she handed him a card. And when he opened the card, it said, will you walk me down the aisle? And he started crying.
And then Gigi started crying, Grandma.
Then Grandma started crying, then Mom started crying, and then I felt a little lump in my throat.
His little bottom lip was quivering.
He cried. Come on, Jake cried.
I cried in spirit. How about that?
With tears.
He was moved to cry, but he fought it back. When that really, not that somebody who cries is not strong, but when that person who has that strong persona, doesn't cry, and then they finally do. And I will share, Rob cried one day when you were talking about Spencer.
Oh, you mean going off to college?
Well,
the wedding. Yeah.
And when you cried, I was a mess because I don't see you cry. Like you're strong, you're stoic, like my husband.
Yeah, I don't cry.
No, but that day and I'm not saying he was like, but you were emotional, and I want to say Ninja and I both kind of were snotting a little bit, like blubbering a little bit when that happened.
Really, Ninja?
Probably.
She doesn't remember, but yeah, I know I was.
What a great memory.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
Exactly why I don't ride these things. It's Rob and Lizz in the morning, His radio.
Just when you ride one, when Liz rides one, I just recommend she doesn't wear a scarf.
Yeah, well.
Because if you wear a scarf, it could really mess things up when you ride one. But she will not ride one of these things. And I feel it's because of a fear that she could really overcome and find some freedom from.
No, I just don't like the way it makes my tummy feel.
Just don't wear a scarf. You'll be fine.
I'm not going to wear a scarf.
Don't
I'm
wear a
not
scarf.
gonna
Then you'll be fine.
No pants, no shirt. I mean, I will if
What?
I were to wear.
What?
I'm saying I won't ride one, so you don't have to worry about anything.
So let's go back to the scarf.
Let's scarves. We're
All
talking
we're
about
talking about
scarves.
was a scarf.
Oh my.
And a roller coaster ride.
Goodness. That's not what I meant.
Okay. Okay, short of the story, roller coaster ride,
I said
scarf came off this person, got stuck in the wheel, and they had to stop the ride.
Like what?
It took like 3 hours to get everybody off this ride because it was going up a hill when it stopped. It was going up before it went to one of those little woof down things.
Okay.
This roller coaster, it's overseas, and it goes like 71 miles an hour. This thing is honking fast.
What's that? That's not fast if you're in a car. I mean, it's over the speed
It
limit.
is
possibly,
in a roller
but,
coaster.
But in a roller coaster where you have, I mean, you do have a seatbelt on, but you're out there for the wind and everything. What?
Just don't wear a scarf, and then you'll be
I'm
fine.
not going to wear a scarf.
Well, yeah,
I'm not going to be
we
on it.
heard that loud and clear.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
Liz just got the perfect text.
Yeah, my daughter texted after a 12-hour shift as a nurse overnight. It's gross outside.
It sure is.
Yeah, now she said I have to drive home in this. Absolutely, be careful.
And what a mess on the weather right now. I've got my app open, and I'm like, oh, my word. It's just everywhere. My in-laws live in Michigan. They're getting pounded with snow right now. And then, of course, you walk outside and you see all the rain that's happening and what it did to all the schools, which, by the way, we have that posted on our website at hisradio.com just in case your school, for some reason, wasn't able to notify you, which they notified usually everybody.
Usually
On
everybody.
what's going on.
And
So
it's-
by now, you know if it's e-learning or going home early or closed altogether.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily about even the rain. It's the wind that's going to be coming in. Those buses, when they're out on the roads, that's what makes it dangerous is, the wind coming through and knocking
It's
them around.
almost like a tropical storm coming through with the way some of this wind is going to be today.
It's so weird, and the temperature is going to be so much higher today than normally, this time of year. Yesterday was cool. Tomorrow's going to be cool. It's just today.
It's just cold enough. It's like, what, in the 30s in most places? You walk outside, it's like, where is the snow? I wish it would be snow right now, but since it's over 32, of course not.
But listen, if it were snow instead of rain, think about how much snow we would have.
Oh, that would be so gorgeous.
Oh, it would be gorgeous, but we'd be trapped.
Rob and Liz.
His morning crew.
I've never owned a Yeti in my life. I'm drinking coffee out of it right now. And now what happens? Everything's different. It's Rob and Liz, his radio.
You're so old school with your Yeti.
Right?
Like, why did you not get a Stanley? Listen, these people, and I mean, I have family members. I did not go get one. People were showing up at Target throwing elbows like it's Black Friday to try to get a pink or red Stanley Cup.
Why are these things so popular?
I really do not know. I have no idea. But I know that Starbucks and Target made some really exclusive Stanley Cups. These things are like $50 a piece. And for 40 ounces? It's a lot of drink that fits in. I have one, but it was gifted to me. And it's been stolen by a family member. I never get to use it.
Who?
Well, it's sort of
A husband? Okay.
and or an older son.
Oh, so
that-
they just keep taking it
They
because
keep
it's
taking-
available.
Yeah, and I'm
okay.
like, where's my cup? Where's my cup? But I don't care if I have a Yeti, an Arctic, whatever, all the off-brands. It's fine. But people are crying over these mugs.
My son has one. My daughter-in-law has one. And my daughter has a Stanley. And they carry it everywhere.
Everywhere. I remember being in school. We never had a water bottle. We never took a water bottle. But that started when my boys were in school. They were allowed to bring their water bottles.
And now I'm like out of date because I have my very first Yeti. Here's the thing. Scott has the OG Stanley.
Yeah. I was curious because we've moved several times with it, and I thought, with all this Stanley talk craze going on, I said, I wonder if I still have it. And I found it, pushed back in one of the cabinets the other day. The green, the mint green with the cup on top. The OG thermos, I've got it.
It's like a thermos. I mean, literally
Yeah, it's a thermos.
not like a cup with a straw.
So my uncle was a truck driver. My dad liked to fish a lot, and they both had these old throwback,
Right?
like it because it kept the coffee hot for Evs. So I have a family friend, and her son and his fiance drove 2.5 hours, I guess, to a Target to get one of these mugs, and ended up empty-handed. Empty-handed, didn't get one.
Really?
Yeah, and I
Can
guess
you-
they made a whole road trip out of
What about ordering online?
I don't think you can. I think you literally have to show up. I don't think it was available online. I could be wrong. But I think you had to show
Are you
up
just
to get
talking to the ones that are at Target?
at Target.
There's more that available than just those things.
Right, but these are the exclusive ones because they did almost, I think they called it Cosmic Pink or something like that. And then there was
Special colors, yeah.
Right, a Valentine's Red. And that's why they showed up to get Targets.
I guess
But
I don't
Starbucks
care
had
because
one
I'm
too.
colorblind.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
Seriously, there is a city in Florida, Deltona, and Deltona is passing or adopting this law or guideline that if you own a pet, you must exercise it daily.
Yeah. And it depends like how old the dog is and the breed and the size and all this, what kind of exercise it's going to be. But they say you can take that dog swimming. You can let it go up and down the stairs in your house, which I like the inside option
Yeah.
because you have maybe someone that's older or just can't get out and about or when it's raining, my goodness. But what's the punishment going to be? You going to the pokey? You going to jail
You'll be going to jail for 90 days.
for not exercising your dog and then
I
who
made
takes care
that
of the
up
dog?
just
Yeah.
to let you know. I made that up.
Yeah.
That part of it. But they're doing this thing, and they're also they say that there's challenges to Chapter 14, whatever that means. But it's including animal enclosures, weather protection, and car safety.
So the car safety thing, does that mean that they have to have the little seatbelt? Because you can get the little harness for your dog.
Really?
Yeah. Like if they're in the back seat, it sort of, somehow it attaches. Obviously, I don't have one, but somehow it attaches to the back seat.
I never
guess.
heard of such a thing.
Yeah.
Now, my daughter, for her two dogs, she has some kind of contraption that protects the seat, but also zips up on two sides so that when the door opens, they just don't dart out. They have to jump over this thing.
Oh, I've never
to get
seen
out.
that.
Yeah, it's some kind of cloth material.
Right. I think the harness somehow harnesses to a latch on the seat, almost like a car seat does, but then it fits around the body of the dog from what I've seen. But they're also saying like the weather protection. I get that. Don't leave your dog out, in the like weather today.
Please don't.
Yeah. So that's what they're saying. So that's some of the things. But I want to know, is it a citation? Is it a fine? Or is it jail time?
90 days.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
I don't know if you remember the guy, Kevin, who worked at a Burger King, I think it was in Arizona, for 27 years straight, never missed a day of work. I mean, perfect attendance, like at school. And so when he retired, the company went, hey, we'd love to give you a little package. So for 27 years of service, never missing a day, here's a movie ticket. Go enjoy a movie. Here's a Starbucks cup and a bag of Reese's Pieces and 2 packs of Lifesavers, some pens and a lanyard and keychains. Thank you. Have a great life. His daughter was like livid. It's like, wait a minute. What? He gives you this much and you do that?
Reese's Pieces?
So she starts a GoFundMe page, and this is a couple of years ago. Since that GoFundMe page has been up, $400,000. $400,000. He just bought himself a house recently.
First house.
First house ever
Ever.
that he owned. It's his outright, and he loves it, and it looks great.
No mortgage payment, which has got to be amazing. All he's got to do basically is property tax.
And it looks more like one of those modular homes.
It does.
Like if you're at a mobile home park, but it's, it's just not a complete mobile home park. And it's very humble. He's got a shed in the background. His little pickup is right there, and his very modest little stamp of land, and it's perfect for him.
It is his. It's got fencing around it. I mean, it's awesome, Just having that first home. When my parents got our first home, that was a mobile home. And it was the first thing they'd ever owned in their lives. And it didn't matter, what it was, the size of it or anything. It was theirs. So this guy, he's just sitting in his living room in his easy chair like,
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
Here's David. He's a mail carrier. He delivers the mail faithfully every day, even in weather like this. And all of a sudden, as he's on his route, he sees a 3-year-old just wandering the streets.
yeah, the baby has on no shoes, like no shirt. He escaped, and not from his house. The baby had escaped from a daycare center.
Isn't that crazy?
And was just walking around. So David said, I saw him and I was like, well, he's with his parent or, whatever. Didn't really pay much attention. But I guess he came back around on the same street and there was the baby again. He's like, okay, kid's out by himself. Like, let's figure this out.
Yeah, because they were like close to a park.
Yeah.
So he's thinking, the kid's at the park. Wait a minute. No, the kid's not at the park.
He's just out there traipsing around. So, he did what he was led to do, and that was grab that baby up and get him back to where he belonged.
Which was good.
Yeah.
That could have turned out so bad.
Like, I wish I knew the span of time from when the kid got out, and I'm sure it's on security video somewhere, but when the kid got out, when David spotted him the first time, then the second time, then got him back. Was it 10 minutes? Was it an hour and a half? Like, so many things could have happened.
Right? I mean, and the wrong person could have seen him and then picked him up, and that would have been horrific.
Don't even want to think about
Every parent's nightmare.
Yeah.
But no, God brought David by, who's delivering the mail, cared enough to make sure that this 3-year-old was going to get back to where he is supposed to be.
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
I don't know if it's like this in your neighborhood. There's still a few people in my neighborhood, just a block over, that have a few of the decorations up on the outside.
Yeah, there's a few in my neighborhood. One that has the tree. And I saw the lights, on the outside. And as I passed, I looked at the window, not in the window like a snooper, just, kind of casually glanced over. And I was like, their tree is still up. Like, it made me joyful. Like, if my husband didn't want the Christmas decorations down like ASAP, I'd probably still have them up.
For real?
Too. Yeah.
Wow.
I just really love them.
My wife wanted to keep them up for a couple of weeks after New Year's Day. She was thinking that, and then as soon as we got there, she's like, nah, let's just take them down.
Yeah, well, maybe it's I just want to deal with this now so I don't have to deal with it later. But Amy, Rob's wife, does the same thing I do, right? She decorates for winter. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the snowflakes and the whatevers. Yeah. And so at least you have that to look forward to. But if you're not putting out any winter thing, you can't decorate for January. Like,
yeah.
How do you
so?
decorate? So it's not exciting.
It's home.
And then if you decorate for Valentine's Day, some are saying it's too early. Not me. But
Scott says there's still a few people in his neighborhood that have the stuff up.
Yeah, a few. There's one that's a street over, and I can see their house from my upstairs window. And they've got the lights along the roof that are flashing, the icicle lights, but they're like almost dancing to music. And so you really notice them. And I don't know how long they're going to keep them up, but they're still up, still flashing.
So I hear Scott saying it keeps him up at night. I'm so sorry, Scott.
Oh, what I'm hearing is he sits by the upstairs window in his rocking chair with his coffee and he looks at him.
No, I see him
dreams.
tossing and turning in bed going, will you just take those things down?
No.
I've got my binoculars. I'm like, is there movement?
Rob and Lizz.
His morning crew.
There was a trio of friends. They were just hanging out. They were walking around the neighborhood, and some of the neighbors, they were kind of thinking maybe they were up to no good. Something was going on.
Wow.
Well, they're watching, what's happening. It's kind of the middle of the day.
Did they move to Bel Air?
Well, right? And so they're watching them, and they're not happy with what's happening, so they call the cops. And they're like, I really want you to come and check out what's going on. There's, 3 out here just milling around, and they don't seem up to no good, but they're a little suspicious because it was 2 pigs and a goat. And they were hanging around
Why are they calling them names?
a neighborhood. No, they were actual pigs and goat.
Yeah, but they don't need to be mean about.
They weren't mean. Literal pig that wallows.
You're talking farm animals for real.
Yeah, farm
A
animals.
goat and 2 pigs?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
They must be friends.
So they made it into a subdivision?
They were in a subdivision.
That's
Just walking around.
crazy.
And they were walking, they were eating out of not really a trough because nobody in a subdivision typically has a trough, but they were looking for things that they could eat and they were getting into. They honestly weren't making a mess. I feel like they were just checking out the neighborhood. Maybe they're looking to move.
They want to move and find a good backyard full of mud.
Right? and they just wanted to find, are the schools good here? Are the neighbors friendly?
They ever make it back to their farm?
Well, because the neighbors called the cops. Yeah, they
Good.
did get back to where within about an hour or so. So they got them moved on pretty quickly. But I think they've made the decision not to buy a house in that subdivision. I mean, if the neighbor's going to call the cops.
Right?